Yes, I understand that it is very, very important that people start seeking for professional help. But in my journey of advocating for mental health, I've started to take a closer look into mental health struggles and the unpredictable path they have. And lately, I want to be looking into stories of our fallen heroes. I mean, people who have died by suicide, and maybe talk about their suicide notes or last words. And today, the very first person I'll be talking about is somebody from ages ago, Evelyn Francis McHale. She was born on the 20th of September 1923 in Berkeley, California, and on the 1st of May 1947, she jumped to her death from the 86th floor at the Empire State Building. A woman employed because she was a bookkeeper about to get married jumped to her own death from the 86th floor at the Empire State Building. When I read about that, I started asking myself a lot of questions. What could have actually led to someone who was employed, was about to get married, and maybe someone who seemed to have her life figured out? So the notes they found beside her on the vehicle she crashed into, this was what she said in her suicide note. I don't want anyone in or out of my family to see any part of me. Could you destroy my body by cremation? I beg of you and my family. Don't have any service for me or remembrance for me. My fiancé asked me to marry him in June. I don't think I would make a good wife for anybody. He's much better off without me. Tell my father, I have too many of my mother's tendencies. Taking closer look into what she said in a suicide note, a lot of questions kept popping up in my head. And the very first thing is, if we look closer, she was employed. She was a bookkeeper. So basically, she probably money or income might definitely not be a main source of sadness, a main source of mental health struggles. This is tell us that mental health at times transcends income, transcends financial burdens, transcends whatever that has to do with money or financial status of a person's life. Though it might be a cause, it actually goes beyond that. From the suicide notes, we can another thing is, she was just 24. I mean, a young adult, just starting her life. She was just 24. This is telling us that mental health struggles has nothing to do with people's age, whether young, whether old, middle-aged, early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, late 40s, or whatever the age range is. People's mental health has nothing to do with their ages. A child, a boy, a girl of 10 years could be so depressed that you keep wondering what could be wrong with this person? At least you are in this phase of your life where you don't really have to provide for yourself and you have to depend on your parents fully. But mental health struggles transcends people's age or the number of years they've spent in life. And from a suicide note, I found out she died by suicide in 1947. Mental health, because funnily enough, or let me say, so unfortunately, I had a friend who, a graduate of biochemistry in university in Nigeria here, telling me authoritatively that he discovered the whites create depression so they could sell antidepressants. I found it so hard to wrap my head around the fact that someone who is a graduate could after seeing everything going on in society feel the whites created depression so they could sell antidepressants. Mental health has always been a thing from time immemorial. People have always struggled with their mental health from ages ago. We have people who, as a result of whatever they were passing through, whatever they were going through then, took their own lives. She died by suicide in 1947. Imagine the number of decades that is ago. So mental health has always been here, and it is something that we cannot just stop talking about, because in as much that people still have this brain in their head, in as much people are still human beings, people are still on this earth, there will always be one thing or the other bothering our minds. Another thing I noticed from the suicide notes is she doesn't want anyone to see her, and she demanded for cremation. For you to realize that most people who died by suicide, even in death, still loved their loved ones, still loved their families, their friends. She knew the pains seeing her remains could actually cause to her loved ones, and she demanded that no one should see her, that she should probably be cremated. Imagine the thought process that must have led to her not wanting her family members, her close friends and close people not to see her. She just wanted the person that was going to find her to probably make provisions for how she was going to be cremated. She didn't want to put them through the trauma of seeing someone they love in that position. And that thing I found out from the suicide note was she doesn't want any service or remembrance. She doesn't want any memorial service. She doesn't want any remembrance after her demise. You can imagine the amount of years she must have been battling a whole lot of things in her head, in her mind, that she just wanted to vanish away. She just wanted to walk away without leaving any trace. She just wanted to leave the surface of the earth without anybody noticing her. She just wanted to live here. Imagine the amount of pains that she must have bottled up, that she must have kept deep inside her heart, that she didn't want anybody to remember her. She didn't want anybody to organize any memorial service for her. She didn't want people to just remember her in any way. Another thing I noticed from suicide note was she felt she wasn't going to be a good wife to somebody, and she felt her husband to be deserved someone better than her. For you to know that most people who are victims of suicide, even at their point of death, still cared for people they love so heartily that she felt her husband deserved someone better, someone. She just felt she wasn't good for her husband. Can you imagine the amount of low self-esteem she must have actually gotten from battling with her mental health for a very long time? She felt she wasn't just good enough for herself, not to talk of being good enough for another person. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I realized victims of suicide, people who died by suicide, seems to be people who are always busy catering to other people's needs while they are slowly eroding within. Like, there are people who have always been catering to people's needs, trying to be there for people, while they themselves are slowly dying within themselves. And it's so unfortunate. This is the story of people like Evelyn, felt the only thing who felt the only solution to her problem was taking her own life. She said to my father, I have so much of my mother's tendencies. Imagine the amount of emotional trauma that she must have gotten from feeling, oh, maybe people will not, maybe my dad will not even like me because I'm starting to look like my mom. One thing I really do wish people understand is the family or whichever background we have as kids or as a grown adults, there are some times that who we are and what we turn out to be has nothing to do with how we were raised. Yes, who we are and whoever we turn out to be has something to do with how we were raised. There's some things that are just meant to be and some things that are not just meant to be. Mental health is really a thing, and I would implore every one of us to talk to someone today and listen to someone today. Peace.